99X and the Morning X. Barnes and Leslie, everyone's in the Thanksgiving vibe. I know so many people have already checked out, and as we did our experiment earlier in the week, no one's listening, so we can just turn the mics on and go crazy.
Barnes, don't tell our next guest that.
Well, we had, in Best Of this morning, we had a 3-segment piece with Alton Brown, who for many years came on our show.
That's right.
On Thanksgiving. And now, in the real current times, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Gillespie, of course, who has Gun Show and Game Changer in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Welcome to the Morning X.
Thanks, guys. Happy to be here.
So great to finally meet you. We've been fans forever. When I lived in Atlanta, I used to go to Woodfire Grill all the time.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you are a legend in the kitchen, so we thought we would leverage your brains in the kitchen to help people maybe with some Thanksgiving hacks, like some stuff that's last minute stuff.
Yeah, folks just get completely overwhelmed with Thanksgiving. And they shut down and they have no idea what to do.
Last year I went, I go to football games in Austin during the season because I'm a Texas Longhorn. And I went back and I went to Salt Lick, Leslie, and I bought a turkey to come and put in the freezer for turkey, ready to go.
Right.
And I went to pull it out. It was a brisket. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I didn't look in the bag. I just assumed that they gave me what I asked for.
Well, outside of ordering from Salt Lick, I'm sure that, Kevin's got some recommendations. Yeah. What happens if you got a lot of people coming over and you are overwhelmed?
Like Leslie, who doesn't know how to cook anything.
I don't know anything where anything is in my kitchen. I couldn't tell you. My husband does all the cooking.
Yeah, so I tell people this every time they ask. And the first is that, people treat Thanksgiving like game day, to use that football analogy. The problem is that most people are not players, and so they need much more practice. And so if there are ways to get ahead, and there are, because there's tons of different things that can be made well in advance. Something like gravy can be made a week in advance and sit in your fridge and be fine. There's literally no issue with it. Cranberry sauce, a lot of your casseroles. There's also nothing wrong with buying something that you love. If you know that you love honey-baked ham, buy a honey-baked ham.
Right.
Don't feel like you have to make one. It's not the day to pull out brand new stuff. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
But people do every year. They think, I'm going to impress my friends, and I'm going to do a dish that I have not ever made before, not even done a practice run of, much less for a big group. And that's not the way to do this.
That's great advice, by the way. Don't experiment the day of.
No, not at all. Do it again. If you want to do a test run, I'm all for it. If you don't, because you don't want to eat stuffing twice in 2 weeks, that's fine. But use the recipe it's not the time to be like, I saw something in Bon Appetit that might be good. It might,
or like the deep fryer. Like you got a new deep fryer and you're going to audition that on Thanksgiving Day. Don't do it.
Yeah, the turkey and the ham, or the proteins, whatever your family chooses, are where people really get mixed up. Because most people can toss together a green bean casserole. But people cook turkey once a year and are shocked when it doesn't come out well. But the thing is that the methodology is the same for roasting a chicken as roasting a turkey. And so buy a chicken 2 weeks before, do a test run on it, practice the technique, and then apply it later on. And by the way, unless you're deep frying birds all the time, that's not a once in a year, let's just see how this plays out kind of thing. Don't go down that road. I would totally go buy a smoked turkey from my local barbecue place that I liked and be like, hey, I'm not making the turkey or ham. We'll make the sides.
100.
If you're not a huge cook, know where your lane is and stay in it.
Love the tip about doing stuff in advance. That's so smart.
Yeah, people, again, the one that I tell folks all the time, when they're looking for shortcuts, is unless you're a bread baker, buy the yeast rolls at the store and warm them up. Seriously, or buy bread from a bakery that you like. It's not... people really overestimate their skill set, or more importantly, I think it's that folks believe that if they don't make everything at home, that somehow they're sort of not doing justice to Thanksgiving. And I couldn't disagree more. My family, frankly, the current generation is made up of loads of lousy cooks. And so I would rather them be like, I bought this thing at Publix. I would go, okay, cool. Well, I know what I'm getting into, rather than being like, I'm going to make this for the first time ever. Let's all cross our fingers and hope that we don't die.
Yeah, and on Thanksgiving, it's not the thought that counts, people. Just because we see you in there grinding. Let's just, do the old trick I used to do like when I was a young dating Barnes. Go get a fancy meal from whatever, take it out of the container, put it on a whatever in the oven on low heat, and then you whip it out like, look what I worked on.
Well, right. That's another great one, too, is that there are loads of restaurants in whatever city you live in that offer like catered Thanksgiving meals or parts of Thanksgiving meals. And frankly, restaurants can use the business these days. I mean, post-COVID, folks are still struggling.
True.
So throw them a bone, man. Go buy something from them and then cut down your workload. Like, my opinion is this, is that if you're really good at something, do that. If you're mediocre, no.
We're talking to, of course, I'm on your Instagram right now. I love it. Kevin Redbeard Gillespie, Chef Kevin Gillespie, former top chef. Okay, what are you making for Thanksgiving? That's the question.
So this is the bummer of the show. My dad passed away about a month ago.
Oh, so sorry.
My mom does not want to do normal Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
She said, look, we're not doing it. We're going out to eat, and we have to go out to eat somewhere that we've never been as a family. So that was challenging enough to come up with going, where have we never been? And then my sister has two very, very small children. So we're going to Rays on the River. Shout out to Rays on the River in Atlanta.
Bell Barnes.
Which I'm sure is going to be delicious. But this will be a first time I've never cooked, or it's the first time I haven't cooked for Thanksgiving in 25 years probably.
Thinking about a couple of unique maybe side dishes that people could not have to experiment with but could whip up easily. That's going to be my question. But first is, when you get to those side dishes, is there something we can feed my family that would really enhance going to sleep sooner?
I mean, turkey's famous for being loaded with tryptophan, so that's why people get very, very sleepy. It might also be the fact that they ingest 3,500 calories in half an hour, so that could also do it as well. I think the key here, if you want to put the family to sleep, is remember, fat. Okay. Macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes, things with butter, load them up and send them to bed, and then put on the most boring television show possible. So after that, you're good.
Well, what are some side dishes that could be unique Thanksgiving things that maybe go with turkey that people, if they want to think outside the box?
Good idea.
So,
good question.
Right. I do a couple, I sort of vary it up, but again, I'm a professional, so I can go rogue when I want to.
Yeah.
But think about the staples that go in the fall. So root vegetables, carrots, turnips, things like that.
Love root vegetables.
You don't have to just do them roasted. One of my favorite things to do is to kind of take a Middle Eastern, sort of slant on it and do them with things like sumac or, fresh herbs like mint and cilantro, roasted pistachios. That's fun. It kind of gives you something that and also something different. Another one that's kind of had a glow up in the last few years is Brussels sprouts. When I was a kid, no one ate them. Nowadays, people know that a roasted or a deep fried Brussels sprout is just absolutely spectacular. Goes perfect with turkey and ham. And again, you can kind of jazz it up. You can play with Asian flavors, or you can stick with the traditional if you want.
I like that sumac. They have that over at, what's that? They bring a big thing of it out to put on stuff. It's the red.
At Roomies.
Roomies. Yeah,
yep.
I love that. And your menu at Gun Show, I like your style. You're like word, period, crab, cauliflower, botarga. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and it used to be even worse than that. When we first opened, we had a dish on the menu that just said rabbit taken apart and put back together.
That's
because
funny.
I was like, I'm not even going to bother to try to explain this technique to you.
You're not going to be open. When are you back open after Thanksgiving?
We'll actually open back up on Friday.
Okay.
Thanksgiving is a day that we only take the one day off because we know that you have family in town and you need to take them somewhere. So we'll be open for it. And then we close a much bigger chunk right after New Year's. We take a vacation as a team and close for the first 10 days of the year.
I always like to look up the restaurants that are open on those kind of holidays. Of course, you get the Chinese food restaurant or forever, Double Chin.
Oh, yeah, Chin Chin, yeah.
Oh, yep. Man, the food there is phenomenal. On your menu, what is Thanksgiving okonomiyaki?
So okonomiyaki is a Japanese-style pancake, basically. And
yum.
we are doing this one. The idea does not make any sense, but it's delicious, is that we said, what if we made an okonomiyaki that kind of tasted like cornbread dressing?
Dude.
And that's what it is. And so we're using cornmeal and sage and celery and stuff like that. And smoked meat, and so we have kind of a Thanksgiving-y flavor, but from a Japanese dish.
Are you open tonight, the night before Thanksgiving?
Yes, we're open Wednesday, we're open Friday and Saturday. We have a little bit of room on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Aren't you trying
We
to
are
slide in a
completely full
reservation?
for the
or what?
weekend.
Yeah, can I get a reservation for tonight?
I mean,
I need to come in there.
You're talking to the wrong guy.
I
People
know.
always ask me, like, can I get in? And I'm like, I have no idea. You're going to have to call the host.
You can get me in. I know it. Okay, I'm coming tonight.
We can make it happen.
All right. Great to have you on. We need to make this maybe a tradition because you have great information for those slackers like us who don't know how to cook.
Happy to do it, guys. And I hope folks have a great Thanksgiving. Everything goes smooth. And remember, fake it till you make it.
love that advice. Love that advice.
Amen, brother. All right. Go see Kevin at Gun Show or Game Changer if you're ever at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Kevin Gillespie, thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
The Morning X with Barnes and Leslie.
Yum, yum.
99X.